My name's Charlie King. Welcome to Turning Silence into Song, a night of the songs of Leon Rosselson, or, if you're in the United States, an afternoon of the songs of Leon Rosselson. And it's sponsored by the People's Music Network for Songs of Freedom and Struggle, a network that sustains and grows a diverse community of performing artists, activists, and allies using music, poetry, and other art forms as catalysts for a just and peaceful world. We have a very full afternoon and evening of music for you, and so we'll get right to it. I'd like to introduce Nancy Kerr, a performer of traditional material, a writer of great songs, a winner of many awards, and most relevant, recently a recorder of a compilation of songs of Leon Rosselson called "The Poor Shall Wear the Crown," and there it is. So please welcome Nancy Kerr.
Thank you, Charlie. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Whatever time zone you are in, we are very happy that you've chosen to be with us. I hope the fact that yes, as Charlie says, that I recently recorded a lot of Leon's songs speaks to how much I love and appreciate his work. You're going to hear a fair bit of my voice tonight, and Charlie's too, because we're going to share introducing duties. So I will get straight on with my song. I'm going to give us. I'm going to give a rendition of the song from which we get the title of today's event, Turning Silence into Song. But it's also where I got my album title, which is "The Poor Shall Wear the Crown." So, to kick us off, this is Harry's Gone Fishing. My heart was cold as midnight, my mind was worry-worn, as I wandered through the city where William Blake was born. Past huddled shapes in doorways and towers made of brass. Then an old man came towards me and he would not let me pass. The years had withered in his face, was he drunk or in despair? He led me to a silent space, said, "See that waste ground there? They never should have knocked it down. If only we'd known how, we could have stopped them doing it." I said, "It's too late now." And he said, "Harry could have done it, 'cause he could put right every wrong. He could turn sighs into silence and silence into song. He could turn frowns into laughter. He could turn lost into found. He could turn wine into water. Or is it the other way around?" Yes, Harry could have done it, and Harry was my pal. But Harry's gone fishing in the Paradise Canal. They say it will improve the place. Well, nobody asked me. What I want is a bit of beach and the sunlight on the sea. A lovely stretch of sand where me and all my mates can meet, with gentle waves to paddle in and wash our tired feet. Then we'll stretch out on our deck chair, let the sunlight soothe our pain, and we'll make the high and mighty serve us winkles and champagne. It isn't very much to ask, I'll be a long time dead. Do you think you could arrange that? I smiled and shook my head. And he said, "Harry could have done it, 'cause he was always on our side. He could turn John and Janet into Bonnie and Clyde. He could turn Shout Not into Why Not. He could turn ears into seams. He could turn armies into forests and darkness into dreams. And it would turn your blood to fire when it was Harry's turn to speak. But one thing he would never do is turn the other cheek. So I left him in that silent space, an old man lost in space, his wild-eyed delusions dancing on his wizened face. and I walked on through that city with its temples made of brass, when a great crowd came towards me and they would not let me pass. The hungry and the homeless, downtrodden and distressed, a wretched, ragged rabble of the outcast and oppressed, the unwashed and the unwanted, on whom the sun has never shone, and the banners they were waving said, Harry lives on. And they sang, Harry's gone fishing, but he will turn up by and by, when a salmon sun rises in a bright morning sky, and he'll turn shout not into why not, he'll turn ears into seams, he'll turn armies into forests and darkness into dreams, he'll turn saints into sinners, he'll turn ashes into sparks, and he will turn the tables on the bankers and the sharks, he'll turn frowns into laughter, he'll turn lost into found, he'll turn wine into water, no wait, the other way around, and the rich shall wear the saddle and the poor shall wear the crown, when Harry rises up and turns the world upside down. Thank you, everybody. Leon will spot that was a slightly edited version of Harry's Gone Fishing, because it's quite overwhelming singing songs to your hero. But there we go. For the full version, you could listen to The Poor Shall Wear the Crown, or in fact, Harry's Gone Fishing by Leon Rosselson. So I am going to hand over straight away, and it gives me obvious and great pleasure to open our stage, our Zoom stage, to the man himself to introduce himself singing one of his very great songs. So please make the wonderful Leon Rosselson very welcome to talk to you.
Oh. Thank you, Nancy. It was Nancy herself who set this particular ball rolling. I think it was 2 years ago during lockdown, when she decided to put on YouTube a song of mine for every day of the month of May. And didn't that turn out to be a very good idea? And I would like to give my thanks to her for that, and my thanks to all the workers, the people in People's Music Network, for all the work they've done to make this happen, and to all the lovely, wonderful performers who have contributed to this event. So that's my thanks. And a song. Yes, it's been a very long road getting here, I should say. 66 years since I wrote my first song, which was, if I remember rightly, the Grace Kelly Calypso. I'm sure you remember that. The marriage of a Hollywood star to Prince Rainier of Monaco. What an exciting event it was. It still stirs my memory. On that long road, in 2002 to be precise, I was asked to write a very different song for a multicultural concert on the last night of the Sidmouth Folk Festival. The song they wanted me to write was what it means to be Jewish living in England. I had no idea how to approach this song at all. It didn't seem to me to be song material. A song, after all, is not an analysis or an examination or a thesis. What I needed, I decided, was a story, so I could make something of this song. So I eventually only made it work by telling the story of my father, his life, and his beliefs. and the song is called My Father's Jewish World.
My father came here as a boy from Tsarist Russia. Milkovishki in the pail, those reservations for the Jews. Schooling was the Talmud and the Torah, the writings of the rabbis and their laws. Music was his daughter, freedom, Yiddish was his mother tongue, and home was just a dreamland in a song. He told us stories of his gentle rabbi father, and of his mother who was fearless, and the hardships that they faced. When the drunken peasants got together and yelled, "Let's kill the Jews for killing Christ," his mother grabbed the rolling pin she used to make the Sabbath bread and ran to crack their skulls. My father said, "It's not a nation, not a religion. This Jewish spirit is still unbroken. It's like the candle that mocks the darkness. It's like the song that shatters the silence. Like the fool who laughs at the dragon. It's like the spark that signals rebellion. It's like the dance that circles unending." He lived in England, half belonging, half a stranger. Always feeling much as I do, on the outside looking in. In time he grew to be an unbeliever. Religion had become a mental chain. Abandoned God, became a Jewish atheist, and then with pride a communist until the day he died. So no more Bible, but instead the Daily Worker. People came and people argued, asking questions how and why. Revolutions done in Trotsky's Soviet Russia. 2 Jews, 3 opinions, so they say. God loves the poor and helps the rich, the Jewish father tells his son. And so you've got to choose whose side you're on. It's not a nation, not a religion. This Jewish spirit is still unbroken. It's like the candle that mocks the darkness. It's like the song that shatters the silence. Like the fool who laughs at the dragon. It's like the spark that signals rebellion. It's like the dance that circles unending. He wrote the books of Jewish rebels like Spinoza, and he sang songs that laughed at rabbis in a language that's not mine. He loved the Yiddish stories and their humour, the humour born from poverty and pain. Sleep faster, we need the pillows. How else could the Jews survive and keep their tattered dreams and hopes alive? But now my father's Jewish world has gone forever. Burned in the flames of hatred, nothing left but ash and dust. And Yiddish lingers on out of nostalgia. How can I make some meaning from what's past? The state they say is Jewish, carved from stone and land, brings only shame by torturing and killing in our name. It's not a nation, not a religion. This Jewish spirit is still unbroken. It's like the candle that mocks the darkness. It's like the song that shatters the silence. Like the fool who laughs at the dragon. It's like the spark that sickles rebellion. It's like the dance that circles unending. Now it's my father's face that meets me in the mirror, and I wonder what to me his Jewish legacy has been. The state of always being an outsider, of asking why then asking why again. A precious strand of Jewish gifts that challenges authority and dares to stand against the powers that be. Emma Goldman, Rosa Luxemburg, Bar Kokhba, the Jewish anarchists and socialists who fought to free the poor, the ones who meet injustices with anger and will not let their dreams drown in despair, who speak up for the refugees, defend the weak against the strong. It's for these rebel Jews I sing my song. It's not a nation, not a religion. This Jewish spirit is still unbroken. It's like the candle that mocks the darkness. It's like the song that shatters the silence. And like the fool who laughs at the dragon. It's like the spark that signals rebellion. It's like the dance that circles unending.
Leon, I'm so glad you picked that song to sing. What a wonderful experience to see you watch your guitar work, listen to that story, and it explains so much of where you've come from and what you've shared with us. A real treasure. I'd like to introduce Dean Stevens. I've known Dean for quite a long time, probably going back maybe 35 years, I think. First time I heard him, he showed up at a people's music gathering in Boston, and he stood up at the Round Robin Sing, and he sang a market holler from Brazil in Portuguese. And he's won my heart, and I've been listening to him ever since. He is an international activist and singer, and he's going to grace us with one of our favorite songs by Leon. Go ahead, Dean.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Leon. I am overjoyed to be here to celebrate this master wordsmith and this people's troubadour. And I am just moved to hear that song, which I've never heard before. I want to say that it comes after a week where twice I was singing at demonstrations in front of Democratic Zionist representatives, telling them about how we felt about the state of Israel. And hearing that story, this song, Leon, just moves me to tears. And I need to get off it and get to this song, which is a beautiful song I recorded some decades ago with my good friend Kenji Ogata. You can hear it on YouTube. It's been on there for about 10 years and it's gotten 41 views. Thank you for writing it, Leon, and thank you all for being here. I'm joining you from Maine. We're visiting my friend John and Rachel Nicholas. I practiced it for them last night, and they said it's pretty easy to tell who's the Republican in this song. The ant and the grasshopper, everyone knows how the story goes, how the ant was diligent, never spent anything lightly. He labored wisely, gathered his store till tomorrow. As for the grasshopper, glad of the summer sunshine, lighted his wind on the broken water. His song he gave to the summer day, singing, where the dance leads I'll follow. Then came a cold winter, nothing grew, and the wind it blew, but the ant was safe and sound in the ground, carefully counting his pile around him. The guy pile around him, watching his store till tomorrow. As for the grasshopper, blown by the north wind's fury, hungering for the easy summer, come comes to the ant and says, "My brother, give me bread. Now is the dance that I must follow. Why did you waste the summer? Summers don't last forever. You're just an idle beggar. You must pay the price, sacrifice. You would not heed me. You took life easy. Now take the punishment that follows. Now see the grasshopper reel like a dry leaf falling, weaving a dance that will last forever." Back goes the ant to his nest to work, to feed the rest. For him there will always be tomorrow. The ant and the grasshopper, everyone knows how the story goes. How the ant was diligent, never spent anything lightly. He labored wisely, gathered a store till tomorrow. As for the grasshopper, glad of the summer sunshine, light as the wind on the broken water, his song he gave to the summer day, singing, "Where the dance leads I'll follow."
Thank you, Dean. Wonderful. That was superb and such congruence. When I sing that song and introduce it, I always say you can always tell which of these is the Tory. So that was delicious. Thank you. What a great version. Wonderful. Dean Stevens, everyone. Thank you, Dean. I'm going to spend a lot of time saying, and here's one of my favourite singers. So I hope that doesn't get old, but you all are. So next we have a British-based singer who really is one of the defining voices of my life. She's absolutely wonderful. She has very beautifully put together this video. So thank you, Janet, for filming this for us. And this is the beautiful song, All That Is Different, from Janet Russell.
Thanks, Nancy. Lovely intro. Thank you. My first memories of Leon's songs are when he came up to Scotland on tour. I heard him with Frankie Armstrong and Roy Bailey at that time as a young singer. And I remember how "Who'd Do That to a Fish Finger" grabbed my attention so directly, and how I loved the defiance of "That's not the way it's got to be," and the grief in "Across the Hills," which moved me like the traditional ballads did. I bought the album, though I couldn't really afford it, and listened to the songs again and again, like you do when you hear something that strikes you. So it's a real honour to be singing in this concert with the lovely Nancy and all of you, singing a song that really speaks for me, as so many of Leon's songs do. I'm now working intensively with the Green Party so that climate issues can be put at the top of the agenda on councils and in Parliament. We need to care not just for every person in society, but every stakeholder, as Polly Higgins wrote in her book, Eradicating Ecocide. The seas and rivers, the moors, mountains, and the skies, and all the creatures who live in them, because we're all part of the web. All that is different says it so clearly. Remember to dance and play and sing. I'll give you the chorus 5 times. Probably not enough once you join in. Thanks.
And will we see a barren world where only one God reigns supreme? A world where death's the only dance and every song's the same, where all obey one single line and colours fade to monochrome. where forests fall and tarmac carves through meadow, hill and stream, where day by day the wildness dies till there is nothing left to save. And will we see the earth put on a uniform, grey as the grave? And does it have to be that way? And does it have to be that way? For all life is holy, the poet once said, and all that is different is part of the dance, and the web of life's colours needs each single thread for the dance to continue unbroken. And all life is holy, the poet once said, and all that is different is part of the dance, and the web of life's colours needs each single thread for the dance to continue unbroken. For all life is holy, the poet once said, and all that is different is part of the dance, and the web of life's colours needs each single thread for the dance to continue unbroken. For all life is holy, the poet once said, and all that is different is part of the dance, and the web of life's colours needs each single thread for the dance to continue unbroken. For all life is holy, the poet once said, and all that is different is part of the dance, and the web of life's colours needs each single thread for the dance to continue unbroken.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. What a beautiful rendition of that song. What rich harmonies. What a beautiful song. We keep hopping back and forth across the pond. So we're back here on the east coast of the U.S. And now we're going to go another 3,000 miles west to Seattle, Washington. And I'm going to welcome Janet Stecker. I want to say a few things about Janet. Janet is a member of an amazing duo, Rebel Voices. She sings with Susan Lewis. She is herself an amazingly powerful voice and a great musical intellect. She was the choral director of the Seattle Labor Chorus for many years. And she's a very dear friend, going back to the days when I met her when she was one of the belles of Hoboken. And I think I also want to say that we tried to talk Janet and Susan into being part of this program tonight, but they very modestly said, you know, you've got so many performers and so many songs. I think we'll just sit on the sidelines and help make it happen. Well, as it turns out, if it hadn't been for Janet, this probably would not have happened because she recruited some of the most important voices that we'll hear today. And we're very grateful for that, Janet. And you come to us with words of regret and words of welcome, yes?
Indeed, I do. Is the sound okay? All righty.
Great.
Terrific. I really love so far, and I think this is going to continue, how there are quotes within each song that evoke the next song and recapitulate something that we've just heard, as the poet once said. So first, I want to mention that Martin Carthy was going to be part of tonight's events. Was delighted to be asked. I think he goes back quite a ways with Leon, and was going to do an early song called History Lesson. And he has a conflict tonight, and he had technical difficulties, so he wasn't able to send.
his video, but he sends his congratulations and appreciation and his regrets that he couldn't be with y'all today. And the next is Barbara Dane. She just celebrated her 95th birthday, and it's going to be here in this quote, who also really wanted to appreciate Leon out loud. Here are her words. Well, Leon, nice we could meet again this way. I'm still coming down from cloud 9, where my 95th birthday celebration has landed me, and thrilled to be able to send a friendly hug to one of the greatest singing poets in the English language. Like all your followers, I've felt that many of your songs were about me. My alleged academic life was much like little Tim McGuire. I'm also partly that guy whose cabbage and peas have been savaged by the 8-lane motorway's murderous onslaught. A heart full of good wishes to you, and may your songs ring relentlessly through the ages. How I wish I could be there with you all to take part in the big hurrah. From Barbara Dane in California. Leon, I am so delighted that we're able to do this. I also first met you through your work with Roy Bailey and Frankie Armstrong, and was very happy to host you in the Northwest of the United States many, many times. And thank you for your hospitality when Rebel Voices came to England. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to y'all.
Thanks, Janet. Beautiful words from you and from Barbara. Thanks. I get to introduce Rob Johnson. I think of Rob Johnson personally as a very generous correspondent. He's been real kind and gracious in communicating with me over the years. Rob is a school teacher. He's loyal to his class. He's a consistent and prolific songwriter, it says here, and writing songs that are both personal and political. And to quote his website, he has been contradicting capitalism since 1985. What were you doing before then, Rob?
That was before I managed to create the fiction that is Irregular Records, which has no right to exist, but has managed to limp on from one catastrophe for, contradicting the laws of capitalism since then.
Thanks, Rob. Everyone, please welcome Rob Johnson.
Thank you. This is one of my favourite Leon songs. There are so many to choose from, but I think this has got some of Leon's finest words, from lines like, all the swarms of bloated blowflies the majestic turd sustains, to the stairs begin to rattle and the rats begin to stare. And that bit about playing maracas in the Ivy Benson band is just genius, Leon. And of course, probably sadly, it's still as relevant today as when Leon wrote it 45 years ago. On a silver jubilee. I remember when my world was hardly grown, and the daughter of a dull dead king ascended to the throne. And though I was just a kid at school, I saw it all with scorn. The solemn sacred emptiness, the monumental yawn, and the slime exuding daily from the sycophantic slugs, all those coronation ashtrays, all those coronation mugs, and the rows of ermined mummies with their maggot-eaten brains, and the swarms of bloated blowflies the majestic turd sustains, droves of decorated duchesses like newly painted slums, kneeling flunkies praying monkeys loyal holes for royal crumbs, and the well-heeled sharks discreetly selling tickets for the show, Park Lane balconies with champagne at £1,000 a throw. Come and cheer the golden fairy queen, forget your daily cares, for she radiates a glory the grateful nation shares, and the pageantry, the panoply, the sanctified decay. But I knew the hour was coming that would sweep it all away. Now time has me in a corner, and I'm moth-eared from the fray. and Her Majesty is reigning still today. With a glass cage all around her and an absence in her eyes, the regiments surround her, they can't take her by surprise. She's as poised as a picture, she's a sight for all to see. With a glass cage all around her on a silver jubilee. With a glass cage all around her, she feels free. I remember 1956 Division, East and West, British paratroops in Suez, Russian tanks in Budapest, and the peaceful marchers singing for the dream that must come true, of a world free from the nightmare we've since grown accustomed to. And the Cuban Missile Crisis, with the rumours flying round that the Queen was in her secret bomb-proof palace underground. The violence exploding when anger made a stand for a peasant people burning in a torn and tortured land. And the monarch walked her corgis behind the palace wall, never once betraying what she felt, or if she felt at all. While her husband shot his mouth off like a walking blunderbuss, she gives birth to royal children with a minimum of fuss. Maintained her waxwork dignity as she trod the royal dance, fulfilled her royal functions in a kind of royal trance. Balmoral, Ascot, Sandringham, the ship launching routine, palace banquets, garden parties, ever smiling and serene. Unique symbol, model woman, never seeing, always seen. And we watched her as she played at being queen. With a glass cage all around her and an absence in her eyes. The regiments that surround her, they can't take her by surprise. She's as poised as a picture, a sight for all to see. With a glass cage all around her on a silver jubilee. A glass cage all around her, she feels free. Seems so commonplace a woman, with her fuddy-duddy hats, but she doesn't stand at bus stops or live in high-rise flats, and she doesn't ride the rush hour or cycle down the Strand, and she doesn't play maracas in the Ivy Benson band, and she doesn't shop for bargains, she's never on the dole, and if she does the football pool, she never tells a soul. She doesn't have to worry with the inland revenue, although she's royally rewarded for all the things she doesn't do. With palaces and properties to keep her in good cheer, and a working wage of £1.7 million a year. A royal train, a royal plane, a costly royal yacht, and lucrative investments in Jesus Christ knows what. Oh, the magic of the monarchy, the mystery sublime, growing gracefully and effortlessly richer all the time. She's the rock of hope and glory in the quicksand of despair, for although the pound may tumble, although panic fills the air, although governments may crumble and the cupboards nearly bare, though the stairs begin to rattle and the rats begin to stare, she enfolds in mystic unity her subjects everywhere, and we know we're safe from harm if Nanny's there. With a glass cage all around her and an absence in her eye, the regiments surround her, they can't take her by surprise. She's as poised as a picture, she's a sight for all to see, with that glass case all around her on a silver jubilee, on a golden jubilee, on a platinum jubilee. With a glass cage all around her, she feels free. I sort of wish I'd actually sent the video in. I just want to say before I head off, it's been one of the delights of my life to have done stuff with Leon, to be part of some of his teams, some of his formations, He is a colossus of songwriting. And indeed, if only he'd smoked a pipe, then the French would be referring to him, referring to Brassens as the French Rosselson. And as well as being a colossus of songwriting, I think he's also, Leon, you are a diamond geezer. No, you're a platinum geezer. Was it a mensch? But whatever. You are the nicest people I've known, and I really appreciate our friendship. So thank you. And it's great to be here. Leon Rosselson, yes.
Thank you so much, Rob. I'm so glad you didn't send a video. I thought that was a great performance of an amazing song. No, really. And I appreciate your little editorial changes as well, updating it. And what we didn't get from your performance is a sense of what a wonderful songwriter you are. And we'll be talking a little bit later about a collection of your songs. But for now, I'm going to move on and introduce Elijah Wald. Elijah's prepared a video for us. And what can I tell you about Elijah? He's an accomplished blues guitarist, and he's a writer and journalist, published thousands of articles, mostly about folk music, roots, and international music, writes for the Boston Globe, has a CD called Street Corner Cowboys, and he has filmed an instructional DVD on Bahamian guitar style of Joseph Spence. So it's pretty eclectic background. His mentor is Dave Van Ronk, and I have to say mine as well, although I have not served him as well as Elijah has. And Elijah is the author of The Mayor of MacDougall Street, a wonderful book if you ever get to pick it up. And it inspired the Coen Brothers movie Inside Llewyn Davis, and the book is much better than the movie. So I don't know if Elijah's going to have anything to say other than what's on his video, but I'll leave that to Ben.
Well, I woke up this morning when a ring at the bell split my dreams. The man at the door had a smile so wide I thought his face would fall apart at the seams. He jigged, "Good morning, this is your lucky day. I have come to help you make the grade. I'm your friend, I'm your neighbor, I'm your good companion. I'm the leader of a wig crusade. We've got straight wigs, curly wigs, gay wigs, and girly wigs. Live a little by a devil daring one. Blue wigs, red wigs, very good in bed wigs. Anyone who's anyone is wearing one." I said, "No thank you, I've nowhere to put them, and I've got all the hair that I need." He said, "Don't worry, son, we've got a product on the market that will make your hair fall out guaranteed. 'Cause we've got cough drops, cricket bats, iron lungs, knick-knacks, wooden legs, wedding rings. We sell everything. Slug killers, killer slugs, road grills, earplugs, time bombs, tombstones, merchant banks, garden gnomes, toothpaste, defoliants, genital deodorant, strychnine, gasoline, benzene, polythene." He said, "The products we are marketing will transform you into somebody of quality and style. You'll be the #1 attraction, and everyone will envy your mysterious superior smile. 'Cause we're making you a very special offer of tomorrow in delicate pastel shades. Have a jar of instant happiness, a bottle full of glamour, an amazing value dream that never fades. Tubes of tranquility, boxes of virility, packets of the simple life that used to be. Eternal youth at bargain price, a one-way trip to paradise, or how about a giant pack of purity? With a free gift sample of the art of gracious living. There's nothing that we can't provide. And what it all adds up to is super satisfaction, though we hope you won't be satisfied. 'Cause we've got fruit machines, magazines, baked beans, submarines, handcuffs, face creams, pet pills, private dreams, synthetic fibers, tranquilizers, inorganic fertilizers, canned beer, barbed wire, dividends, 5-point-hour Mars bars, fast cars, Jesus Christ and superstars, life insurance, cigarettes, package toys, and saber jets." Well, I said I really didn't think I had the urge to purchase, and in any case my cash was running low. His eyes beamed out a warning and his smile got kind of stormy, and he said, "There's just one thing you ought to know. It's people like you that are letting down the country when our democratic freedoms are at stake. 'Cause if you don't buy, the wheels will start to falter, and after that it's on with a break. Then confidence will be destroyed and millions will be unemployed, and anarchy will grow from our disharmony. So tell me, sir, do you prefer to be a lousy saboteur or help to save the national economy? Because production only rises and investments only boom when the demand stimulates the supply. Then everyone will prosper, so I hope it's very plain that it's your patriotic duty to buy. Cough drops, cricket bats, iron lungs, knick-knacks, wooden legs, wedding rings. We sell everything. Slug killers, killer slugs, road drills, earplugs, time bombs, tombstones, merchant banks, garden gnomes, toothpaste, defoliants, genital deodorants, strychnine, gasoline, benzene, polythene. Through machines, magazines, big beams, submarines, handcuffs, face creams, pep pills, private tubes, synthetic fibers, tranquilizers, inorganic fertilizers, canned beer, barbed wire, dividends, a 5-point higher Mars bars, fast cars, Jesus Christ, and superstars, life insurance, cigarettes, package tours, and saber jets. I'm a new supersonic fractional orbital bombardment system that annihilates anything that moves within a range of 5.728 light years.
Well, that was pretty remarkable. Makes me wonder if he's got a teleprompter somewhere, but as it turns in, he has stumbled into our meeting late, but always welcome. Elijah, what a great performance. You'll have to unmute.
Mute. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I actually have been present the whole time. I just had apparently signed on as a member of the public rather than as a performer. But I just wanted to say hello to Leon, and I first heard Leon's music when I was up in Vancouver, where he was worshipped as something akin to a god by sort of everyone on the left. I was staying with a woman in a group called the Euphoniously Feminist and Non-Performing Quintet, Maggie Benston. And then I happened to be playing at the Cafe Lena in Saratoga, and Leon and Frankie were playing either the night before or the night after, and I either went early or stayed late. But boy, was it a pleasure to meet him and then to host him in Cambridge, to stay with him in London. And I just want to say what an incredible songwriter. I mean, the song I just did, We Sell Everything. It's Gilbert and Sullivan on steroids, and yet the politics is so sharp, so smart. And as Rob said, the only sad thing is it is still appropriate as ever. I wish that Leon's songs went out of fashion, but unfortunately they don't. So thank you very much for letting me do that. And I wish I could have done it live, but I'm traveling and didn't trust to my internet.
Thanks, Elijah.
Thanks, Elijah. Thank you,
Thanks,
Charlie.
Nancy.
Marvelous. Thank you so much. Well, my way into knowing Leon's music is through our next performer, and the fact that I think I've probably stolen all of her vinyl albums, but also the fact that she sang for many years and many great concerts and events and protests and action with Leon himself. So it gives me incredible pleasure to introduce my fabulous mother. So please enjoy this video. Thank you so much, Mum, for doing this. Please enjoy this from the wonderful Sandra Kerr.
Hello everybody, and hello Leon. I'm absolutely delighted to be in the company of so many brilliant musicians and singers who want to pay tribute to your writing, your politics, your music. I'm very proud to call you friend. Known you for so many decades, and of course you've been a huge influence on my daughter Nancy too, which is great. You've been a huge influence on us all. I've chosen to sing my son, because, well, we all fear for the future, for our children and grandchildren. And of course, cosseting and guarding them too much means that actually in the end they won't be able to face the dangers that are out there, the dangers of environmental catastrophe, of the cruelties of capital and all the rest of it. So, and all of that, of course, is in the song. And so I don't know why I said that, but here it is, My Daughter, My Son. Where have you been all the day, my darlings, my little ones? Where have you been all the day, my daughter, my son? Playing mother in the street, hopscotch and hide and seek. No need to worry, we're old enough now to be left to play on our own. Children so tender, heedless of danger, cars that deliver death while you play. Sweet offering strangers, hovering like vultures, waiting to swoop and bear you away. Where have you been all the day, my darlings, my lovely ones? Where have you been all the day, my daughter, my son? In the garden, running free, swinging on the apple tree. No need to worry, we're old enough now to be left to play on our own. Bushes bear gifts of poisonous berries, roses bear thorns to tear your soft skin. Branches may maim and break your bright bodies. Everywhere danger, children come in. Where have you been all the day, my darlings, my precious ones? Where have you been all the day, my daughter, my son? Running up and down the stairs, under tables, over chairs. No need to worry, we're old enough now to be left to play on our own. Mind you don't fall and lie bleeding, cut by sharp corners, caught as you run. Sometimes my mind feels everything falling. Come here to me, my daughter, my son. Why have you put us in this strange room? Why are the walls so soft and the floor so smooth? Where is the sun? Where is the door to the garden? What are those soothing whispers promising love?
Sandra Kerr, thank you so much. A testament, I think, to not just the words, but as we know, the music of Leon as well. That's an incredible arrangement and a beautiful, haunting song. Just to let you know, Sandra, one of your grandchildren came in and watched that with me and did say to me, "Yeah, Mum, don't be so overprotective." So that's great. So, onwards with a singer that I've really enjoyed listening to many, many times, but never been able to meet in person. So, this has been lovely, and I do think just a kind of shout out and appreciation to the kind of possibilities that the accessibility of online meetings and gigs have opened up to people. So, I'm very grateful for that, and long may it continue in a good, accessible way. So, very excited to introduce this singer and to hear her beautiful version of this incredible song. Please welcome Reem Kalani.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to put this, and I don't know if you can see this. This is the Palestinian journalist that was targeted and shot dead a week ago by Israel in Jerusalem, Shireen Abu Aqle. So at least my song is dedicated to her. If you'd like to dedicate the evening to her, that would also be welcome. So I thought that would be my opening line, if that's okay with you. Well, it is a political show for a change. I don't have to apologize for my politics like I do with many so-called world music venues and festivals that whenever they hear the word Palestine, they need an Israeli to neutralize you. Otherwise, you don't exist. So I'm happy to be non-neutralized here. I'm honored to be in such an incredible gathering with amazing names and to celebrate the music and the narrative. It's not just the music, it's the narrative, something that lacks a lot in the creative world, what you have to say. And I met Leon almost 20 years ago. Corny as it sounds, he is my surrogate father. Schmaltzy as it sounds, this Russian Jewish man is the surrogate father of this Palestinian Muslim woman. And the irony of all ironies that his Syrian Jewish wife, wonderful Rina, when she and I start talking in Arabic, he stops and he says, "Oh my God, Reem, you and Rina have more in common than Rina and I, because I'm Russian and she's Syrian." So it just shows that Zionism has nothing to do with Judaism, which is indigenous to our part of the world. This song is called Song of the Olive Tree. I don't know if Leon would like to introduce it. And I sang it, recorded it separately with my wonderful pianist. He sends his solidarity, Bruno Heinen. He can't join us tonight, so you will hear me, Bruno and myself sing Song of the Olive Tree. And I don't know if Leon wants to say something about it.
I think it's all you, Reem.
Oh my God! Well, you know, gift of the gab comes in handy every now and then. Well, Leon wrote this song because of some Israeli businessman actually uprooting indigenous ancient olive trees to have them planted in their posh gardens. I need say nothing else really. A Song of the Olive Tree, over and out. Solidarity to everyone.
My father's father planted here, in this now broken earth, an olive tree. And as a child I sang to it my secrets, and as I grew I felt it part of me. Its branches gave me shelter from the sun, its grey-green leaves shaded my own dreams. The fruited bough was like a gift of hope. Of all the olive trees, I loved this one. Oh. settlers came, they beat us black and blue. They said next time we shoot you, understand? But still we dared to come, we had no choice. We came at night like thieves to our own land. Like ghosts we came, men, women, young and old, to pick the crop as we have always done. For centuries we harvested in peace. The oil we pressed was sweet, precious as gold. Now look, this is a cemetery for trees. Their great machines crushed hope into despair. They ripped the heart from every living tree, except for one mighty tree they chose to spare. They dug it up, they smuggled it away. This ancient tree, they saw it as a prize, for some is really rich enough to pay $5,000 worth, that's what they say. Do you believe in ghosts? Last night I dreamed my father's father's father came to me. He took my hand and held it in his own, and said, take heart, here is my olive tree. And when I woke it was a kind of birth, and in my hand I found an olive stone. And in the field where once my tree had been, 1,000 shapes arose out of the earth. I saw their faces, women, children, men, and each hand held a perfect olive stone, and each heart held a vision of to come, when all our olive trees will rise again. When all our olive trees, when all our olive trees, when all our olive trees will rise again.
Thank you, Reem. Absolutely beautiful and wonderful to meet and hear you. Thank you for your words. Well, it gives me pleasure to introduce my co-MC and host tonight. Also, a great writer of his own stories and material, and a crucial linchpin in folk music. So please welcome to sing his contribution, the marvelous Charlie King. Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you, Nancy. I should be collecting these epithets. A linchpin, that's a new one. Often I get described as a, it's not coming to me. Many things don't come to me anymore. I first heard Leon perform live in Connecticut a little over 40 years ago. He was touring with Frankie Armstrong, who's with us today. They'd recently put out their album, I think it was Love, Loneliness, and Laundry, something like that. And I was startled by the songs that they were sharing. I went up during the break and I bought every album that Leon had produced up to that point. He gave me a discount for bulk, and I've been learning them and singing them ever since. This is the first one that I recorded, and it it became kind of the flagship song on the album because it inspired the title for the album, Feelings of Fire, and also the picture that appears on the front of the album of a child jumping with joy and desire. Whoever invented the fish finger, I should tell you, when I recorded this, I made 3 changes to the song to make it more understandable by an American audience, and Leon gave me his approval for 2 of the 3 changes. And I'm going to sing it tonight appropriately as Leon wrote it, not as I changed it. Whoever invented the fish finger ought to be transmogrified, skin chopped and boxed into uniform blocks, then covered with breadcrumbs from collar to socks, then frozen and finally fried. Because who'd do that to a fish finning its way through the seas? Colors in harmony, perfectly poised, riding its flying trapeze. And progress is all very well, but not when it chops up our dreams. And it's hard to feel at ease in the world when nothing is what it seems. Whoever invented the Daily Mail ought to be cut down to size, pulped and reduced to a nauseous juice, then dried up and flattened till ready for use, then covered with newsprint and lies. Because who'd do that to a tree, lifting its head to the skies, rooted in centuries, telling tall tales, breathing a green lullaby? And progress is all very well, but not when it chops down our dreams. And it's hard to feel at ease in the world when nothing is what it seems. Whoever invented the policeman ought to be whipped into shape, toughened and trained till the body's a cane, till the arms are a chain, till the nerves feel no pain, till obedience rules and encircles the brain with walls, so he'll never escape. Because who'd do that to a child, jumping with joy and desire, floating in fantasy, drowning in dreams, brimming with feelings of fire? And progress is all very well, but not when it locks up our dreams. And it's hard to feel at ease in the world when nothing is what it seems. Thank you, Leon. I'm still here. I must have to introduce someone.
Russ.
Thank you, Ben. Actually, I was feigning ignorance. Russ Chandler. I think the first thing I want to say about Russ is that he has been, to quote Nancy, a linchpin. And a linchpin in putting together this afternoon or evening of the songs of Leon Rosselson. He's been to the meetings. He's sat through all of the skull sessions and technical sound checks and the like, and has been accommodating and tireless, and we appreciate that. He's to quote him, no, to quote his website, he's a forceful singer and a banjo player. You'll soon find that out for yourself. He plays traditional, political, and modern songs, and he's written a book, actually, about something that happened very close to where I'm sitting right now. The book's called Hold the Line, Lessons of the Peekskill Riots, about when Paul Robeson sang into the teeth of racist mobs here in upstate New York. And appreciate you doing that. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you got to sing for us, Russ.
Thank you. I don't know about linchpin. I was once referred to as a stalwart bulwark, which I thought was rather good. Lots of people can speak far more eloquently than I about Leon's sophistication, his erudition, the humour, the quality of his songwriting. There's one quality, I think, which comes out in this particular song, but I think it goes through all of his stuff like a strand of DNA, and it's the old adage, the old frame of mind that I think anyone who's serious about trying to change the world needs to have, which is that pessimism of the intellect and optimism of the will. I think this is the most gloriously optimistic song. When you're new in the world, you've a dream that is wild. Then they tame you and mould you till one day, behold, you're obedient soldiers, commuters, consumers. Reality rules, and there's no room for dreamers. They teach you your place in the obstacle race, with a smile that they keep always just out of reach. And you're urged on by megaphone voices that offer you choices that are not your own. Only listen for the voice that lives inside you. Like a songbird in a cage, it waits in silence. Find the key to set it free, and soaring skywards. Now the sky is filled with voices, hear them sing beside you. If the powers that be in their wisdom decree that you no longer needed to feed the machine, the wheel turns, you're dismissed. If you dare to resist, there are walls, there are laws to confuse you and bruise you. They'll label you scroungers and wasters and spongers. They'll call you subversives, reds, traitors and worse. If you don't fit the norm, if your ways don't conform to the rules, then you're out of the game. Only listen for the voice that lives inside you. Like a songbird in a cage, it waits in silence. Find the key to set it free, and soaring skywards. Now the sky is filled with voices, hear them sing beside you. The way they've arranged things, you think you can't change things you want. You're just you, but whatever they do, don't forget to remember you're a name, not a number. No one can think for you, dream for you, speak for you. Don't let them bind you down, don't let them grind you down. Don't let them mold you till one day, behold, you're obedient tools, you're commuters, consumers, and reality rules out your dreams. Only listen for the voice that lives inside you. Like a songbird in a cage, it waits in silence. Find the key to set it free, and soaring skywards. Now the sky is filled with voices, hear them sing beside you. Now the sky is filled with voices, hear them sing beside you.
Russ
you, Leon.
Chandler. Thank you, Russ. Great to hear you and see you. Fabulous. What a great song. I just want to thank everyone for their lovely comments in the chat as well. Please check them out if you can. There's some lovely reminiscing and appreciation and support. Now, I have not seen this next video, but I'm going to assume, knowing what I know, that Martin has given us some lovely background, an important background to this song. So I think I will just go ahead and introduce the next segment, which we're very, very lucky to have. So please listen and watch the wonderful Martin Simpson.
This is Palaces of Gold, written after the Aberfan disaster, which generated a number of songs, but the strength of Leon's song is that it's really non-specific. It just keeps on being generally true. If the sons of company directors and judges' private daughters had to go to school in a slum school, dumped by some joker in a damp back alley, had to herd into classrooms cramped with worry, with a view over slag heaps and stagnant pools, had to file through corridors grey with age and play in a crackpot concrete cage. Buttons would be pressed, rules would be broken, strings would be pulled, and magic words spoken. Invisible fingers would mold palaces of gold. If prime ministers and advertising executives, royal personages and bank managers' wives had to live out their lives in dank rooms, blinded by smoke and the foul air of sewers, rot on the wall and rats in the cellars, in rows of dumb houses like mouldering tombs, had to bring up their children and watch them grow in a wasteland of dead streets where nothing would grow. Buttons would be pressed, rules would be broken, strings would be pulled, and magic words spoken. Invisible fingers would mold palaces of gold. Now I'm not suggesting any sort of a plot. Everyone knows there's not. But you unborn millions might like to be warned if you don't want to be buried alive by slag heaps, pitfalls and damp walls and rat traps and dead streets, arranged to be democratically born. the son of a company director or a judge's fine and private daughter. And buttons will be pressed, rules will be broken, strings will be pulled, and magic words spoken. Invisible fingers will mold palaces of gold.
Oh my. Martin, thank you so much. I haven't heard that song in years, but hearing it from you makes me want to go back and learn it and start singing it, because it seems even more powerfully relevant today than when I heard it years ago. Maybe I'm just getting older, or the song's getting better. So I'm going to introduce a spoken word portion of the show. Ramsey Canaan is the, would you be the publisher, Ramsey? What is your role of the PM Audio series? And if people out there know the music of Leon Rosselson, know the music of Rob Johnson, chances are they owe a debt of gratitude to Ramsey Canaan, because Leon and Rob can't be live everywhere, and Ramsey has made sure that there's a vast catalog of their songs and made it available through the PM Audio series. And you know, every time they come out, I grab up a bunch of them and share them with friends and play them till they wear out. So, and quite relevantly, he's soon to publish a musical memoir of Leon's entitled "Where Are the Elephants?" Wo sind die Elefanten? And it will come complete with a 2-disc CD set with all of the songs referenced in the memoir. I have a great book called "Where Have All the Flowers Gone?", where Pete Seeger tells his story in terms of the songs that he sang over the years. So I look forward to getting Leon's memoir and see how he weaves those songs through his own biography. So thanks for joining us tonight, Ramsey.
It really is a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me to be a part of this. I have to say I'm mildly horrified at the thought of being introduced as the spoken word segment. I fear that you'll expect me to produce some wonderful, coherent rap or, rhyming piece. Far from that. I'd just like to say a few words in a non-rhyming fashion of my love and appreciation for Leon. It's actually very difficult for me to do so, partly because Leon, like many wonderful artists throughout the ages, basically listening and consuming, for want of a better term, his words of music often reduces me to tears. And I've been weeping my way through most of this, the last hour and a half performance. So if I sound a little broken up, that's why. I first came across Leon's oeuvre, shall we say, in the early 80s as a young punk rocker. We were all young once. And it was in the days of home taping is killing music. So part of the punk underground was kind of tape trading, as it was called in those days, and people passing cassettes to each other. And as a young punk rocker, a friend of mine in Ireland turned me on to this kind of bizarre concept of these, what to us were really these old dudes kind of with big beards, wearing chunky jumpers, but were actually fucking rocking out. He sent me cassettes of The Moving Hearts, of Christy Moore, and this oddly strange duo named Leon Rosselson and Roy Bailey. And me and my punk compadres had our tiny minds, teenage minds, absolutely blown. So then we went to the Edinburgh Folk Club, where again, we were probably literally half the age of the rest of the audience. And we sat in the front row with our, spiky hair and leather jackets and studs. And because we were massive fans, we were in the front row, me and my buddy. And, as is typical, I guess, of folk concerts, though not of punk rock concerts, there's kind of two sets and there's an intermission. In the intermission, Leon walked up to us. And we didn't know who he was. We knew who he was, but we'd never met him before, never corresponded, no nothing. And he walked up to us and said, "What are you doing here?" And we said, "We've got your records and we think you're great, and can we interview you for your fanzine? And we love your song, Who Invented the Fish Finger, and are you a vegetarian?" In which he replied, "No, I'm not." But we were not deflated by our great hero not being a vegetarian. And we persevered, and as time went on, I continued my erstwhile publishing career. And I have to say, it's been one of the fundamental pleasures of my life is that I've been able to publish. Over the years, many of the people that have kind of blown my mind and changed my world and expanded my horizons. There's actually three people that come to mind. It's strange when you finally interact with your heroes, understandably, because us humans are a complicated, messy bunch. It's often actually disappointing. These are your heroes, you built them up, you love and admire their work. And understandably, often, people are a bit more complicated in real life. And there's a trio of people that I've been fortunate enough to work with who I think are amongst the kind of all-time greats and deserved legends. They are Noam Chomsky, Ursula Le Guin, and Leon Rosselson. And I can honestly say that all three of them are absolutely wonderful human beings, as well as being sort of genuinely world-changing individuals. And I guess I've really got nothing more to say than thank you, Leon. I know you're 87 and I know you can do whatever the hell you want, but I sincerely hope that you're going to carry on plugging away, and you've got a lot more to offer us all in words, deeds, and inspiration. So carry on, brother, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Ramsey. Artfully spoken. I didn't miss the rhyme at all. It was well said. Now I get to introduce Rick Burkhardt, which makes me happy. It's striking, there's your list of songwriters and singers there on the screen. It's striking how many wonderful songwriters are represented here today who have sung and recorded the songs of Leon Rosselson. And I think that's one of the ways that we give tribute to him today, is that people who think a lot and work a lot in the trade of songwriting recognize in Leon an amazing model, something to strive for in our own writing. Ramsey, when I first met Rick Burkhardt, he was sitting in the front row at a concert. He didn't have spiky hair. It was in a bank that had been turned into a Unitarian church, and I had been, prior to that, I'd been slipped a cassette of Rick's music, and that happens a lot. If you're a songwriter, people say, "Oh, here's a cassette of my songs. You're really going to like it." And his partner, Andy Grisovich, had slipped me a cassette, and I said, yeah, I threw it in my guitar case. But then I started to listen, and I've been listening to Rick's songs ever since, and we've performed together, and I'm very, very happy that he's joining us tonight. What have you got for us, Rick?
Thanks, Charlie. I'm convinced that the first Leon Rosselson song that I heard was Charlie's recording of Whoever Invented the Fish Stick or Finger, depending on which side of the Atlantic you're on. And then Charlie sent me some cassettes, these magical things called cassettes, which will be spoken of in legend. The amazing thing was that they were 90 minutes long, and so you could fit almost 3 Leon Rosselson songs on each cassette. And what I remember was that Charlie sent me a cassette of Leon's songs, and I thought, oh, this is great. And then Charlie sent me another cassette of Leon's songs, and then another one. And I was like, now, wait a minute. How many are there? How many of these songs can there possibly be? But anyway, here's one that I've been playing for about 20 years. I marvel at the craftsmanship of this song. This song is a masterpiece of symmetry, and from the very first word to the very last, there are majestic surprises in this song. The first word is picture. Picture, if you will, is how the song starts, and I strongly recommend that you do attempt to picture what the song describes. Picture, if you will, a poet seated at his writing table, catching butterflies of beauty in his silken net of words, musing on love's fleeting raptures and the long-lost joys of boyhood and the terrors of time passing, like the beating wings of birds. Enter then a stoutish woman, once his muse and then his mistress, now his wife, who, let's admit it, ministers to all his needs, pours his daily glass of cognac, not a word between them spoken. His thoughts fly free as a skylark, while she cooks and cleans and feeds. Into this domestic order, introduce a woolly monkey, which the poet buys when tipsy as a present for his wife. It will keep her company while he drinks Pernod at the cafes and laments with fellow artists the soullessness of modern life. She rejects the woolly monkey. He, by contrast, finds it charming, teaches it domestic duties, smiles to see its willing ways. Witness now the poet's triumph as the monkey one fine evening pours for him his glass of cognac, much deserved the poet's praise. Enter then the stoutish woman, sees the monkey pour the cognac, sees the poet, points a pistol, shoots the monkey in the head. This, I swear, is how it happened, leaving just one crucial question. Why destroy the harmless monkey? Could have shot the man instead. Terrible the poet's anger. Wife departs to roam the cafes, leaves the poet deep in mourning, will not speak to anyone, writes a poem for the monkey and declaims it at the graveside. All the mourners weep to hear it. Finest work he's ever done. Picture once again the poet seated at his writing table, pours himself another cognac, searches for the inner light. Muzzily he muses sadly on the fickleness of women and the monkey's tragic fate, and why he can no longer write.
Rick Burkett, thank you so much. What a great song and a great performance. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you. It is such an honor and a pleasure.
Magic. Thank you. So, we have another incredible performer coming up for you. I just want to say, I don't know what it's like where you are, but here in the UK, I would say we are overly fond of musical labels and kind of genre boundaries a lot of the time. And I know, or I think I've kind of intuited or understood that the genre boundary, the kind of label of folk and folk singer, isn't really stretchy enough to encompass what Leon is and what he's created. And I do understand that. However, I do hope that the fact that people as influential and as wonderful as traditional singers, as the person who you're going to hear next, the fact that they have taken on Leon's music and love it and find it timeless is, I think that should be a testament, another testament to Leon's skill and gift. So I'm not going to say linchpin again, maybe ever actually. I won't say that again, but we are about to hear a really, truly incredible traditional and contemporary folk singer. He's now resident in Iceland. And we're going to see his intro, and we're going to hear his music, and then we will hear a few words from him afterwards. So please will you welcome the incredible Chris Foster.
In the summer of 1981, I was invited to be part of a project to make an album that was called Nuclear Power No Thanks, and there were songs there from a number of people and performed by a number of people, some of them in this concert tonight. And one of the standout songs for me on the album, which I subsequently learnt and have played and recorded over the 40 odd years since then, is called Who Reaps the Profit, Who Pays the Price. And so I'm going to do that one now. You sit there handing down orders, you examine the terms of the deal. The car is always waiting, other hands turn the wheel and the doors slide open before you, and the doors slide shut behind. Other hands carry your luggage, weightier matters engage your mind, and you take the gold out of the earth and you throw the corpses in. One crop is as good as another, just as long as the cash keeps pouring in. The wheel must never stop turning, and the machine must be obeyed. The future has got to be fueled, and there's a price to be paid. Black like the dust, brown like the earth, this is the land of our birth. Silently digging our graves, choking our bodies, choking our lives, living on scraps, dying in debt, digging in darkness so our children can eat. Once we were free, reaching the sun, sharing the earth, giving thanks to the corn. Sang with the water, sang with the wind, danced with the drum, circle without end. Now we are silent, they've taken our tongues, they've taken our pride, they've taken our songs, only our bodies, only our eyes burn with the memories of the old ways. Brown like the earth, black like the dust, who can we turn to, who can we trust? And you've got no patience with failure, you've got no time for delay. Certainty points to the future, straight lines carve out the way. And you never make moral judgments, only one truth you defend. That money must be free to make money, that's all there is in the end. And you take the diamonds out of the earth, you throw the corpses in. One crop is as good as another, just as long as the cash keeps pouring in. The wheel must never stop turning, and the machine must be obeyed. The future has got to be fueled, there's a price to be paid. Brown like the earth, black like the dust, who can we turn to, who can we trust? The gun is their god, they have taken our land. They take what we dig, they take without end, and we drown in the dust, we choke in the heat. Our skin grows sores, our lungs rot, but still we remember. Cold, clear air, waking at dawn with the morning star. Still we remember the sound of the flute, the feel of the grass under our feet. Death may come quickly if the mind floods, if the road talks, if the gas explodes, but mostly we linger on this cold bed, clutching for air, coughing up blood. Nobody cares, nobody sees, we make no headlines, dying by degrees. And 1,000 shapes wait to attend you, the ones who drive your cars, who reserve your place at the table, and who order your daily cigars, who silently guard your privacy, who make sure that your ties are new, who remind you of your appointments. Oh, you know they all depend on you, and you take the uranium out of the earth and you throw the corpses in. One crop is as good as another, just as long as the cash keeps pouring in. The wheel must never stop turning, and the machine must be obeyed. The future has got to be fueled, there's a price to be paid. Nobody cares, nobody sees, we make no headlines, dying by degrees. What choice do we have? They have taken our home, we wait in silence, our time will come. They tear from the earth, they leave nothing behind, only raw scars on a wasteland. But someday and soon the mountains will shake and the drum will sound and the sun will turn black, and from out of the dust and from under the earth we will arise, proclaiming this truth. All life is sacred, all life is one, from the rocks on the mountains to the children unborn. And the walls will topple and the fences will fall, the scars will be healed and the earth will be whole. This is our land, the land of our birth, black like the dust, brown like the earth. And you never carry money, you're like in your life ordered and clean, you make out checks to charity, no one can call you mean. Through your double-locked gateways, only the privileged pass to admire your taste and elegance, marbles of marble and silver and glass, and you take the earth out of the earth and you throw the corpses in. One crop is as good as another, just as long as the cash keeps pouring in. The wheel must never stop turning, and the machine must be obeyed. The future has got to be fueled, and there's a price to be paid.
Chris Foster. Did you want to say a few words, Chris?
Yes, can you hear me? I just wanted to say that I'm thrilled that this concert is taking place. I've been saying for many years that, as far as I'm concerned, Leon is one of the very few, very best songwriters in the English language from the last 60 years. And so this recognition of his work tonight, you know, with the performances we're getting, is just bearing that out in spades. And I just wanted also to say it was a real honor and a privilege to be invited to take part. And above all, just a very, very big thanks to Leon for everything.
Thank you, Chris. And thanks everyone for your wonderful, wonderful contributions and your chat and your enthusiasm and your energy. Thank you, Chris. That was incredible. Right, it is time to introduce another just hugely, not just influential, but completely central voice and personality and person of wisdom, one of the key women in music in this country and beyond. So I will say no more than please welcome the wonderful Frankie Armstrong.
Nancy, thank you so much. I mean, oh, what an evening. I spent the evening lip syncing. So with every song is one I've sung along on in one way, or sung or recorded, and Chris, what an extraordinary job you just did with that last song. Because for me, it has the three voices of us weaving in and out. And I think I can honestly say that singing that song with Leon and Roy, as I did for that album, and then after I was given the extraordinary privilege and gift of joining them, singing that song, Who Reaps the Profits, Who Pays the Price, is kind of the high point of my artistic life. I was planning not to get choked up, but I clearly am. And I first saw Leon in about 1963 at the Troubadour. And I thought his songs were extraordinary, but they didn't have anything much to do with me, who was largely singing traditional songs at that time. And then I think the first time I remember sharing a concert with him was in London, an anti-apartheid song sometime in the 70s, and I think that was when we kind of met. And then it must have been, and therefore Chris just gave me the date, 1981, when I became part of that project, Nuclear Power No Thanks, and was invited to sing along on some of those extraordinary songs that Leon had written. And then, after having worked with him doing some Brecht songs with the poet and writer Nigel Gray, I can remember that moment when Leon invited me to join him and Roy Bailey and form a trio. And what a life changer that became. And, and also was the moment of really beginning this friendship that has lasted into my early 80s. And well, I just can't believe how extraordinary Leon is still singing and writing. And I'm so looking forward to the memoir that Ramsey talked about. Anyway, I'm going to sing one of my favourite songs of Leon's, although I've heard so many of this evening that have just taken me round the world with him. We toured in North America and in Australia and around these islands. And it won't surprise anybody to know that one of my favourite songs of his is called Voices, and is indeed about the power and beauty of song to, at times, well, not just at times, for all of us at a time like this, to change things for the better. Because if it keeps us singing and hoping, then indeed it's doing something for us individually for the better, as well as socially and politically. Oh, am I going to get through Voices? And the way that Leon allowed me to arrange it is also enables you all to sing along, all 100 and odd of you that I'm told are witnesses to this, because I sing the word voices and then invite you all to overlap me. But to support me this evening, I have my beloved partner, Darian Pritchard, and he's going to keep me on pitch, and all of you with the shruti drone instrument, while I sing and invite you to join me with voices. So what happens is I sing voices, voices, and you overlap me when I wave you in, and with the same phrase. Voices, in the stagnant squalor of a shanty town, a woman is singing. She cannot read, she cannot write her name, but the voice that lives inside her makes her strong. It calls 1,000 other voices into song. It breaks the sullen silence of the sky and wakes the ragged children who must scavenge to survive, and shakes the soundproof citadels where paper deals are made a world away. Without warning, before the squads of armoured cars and uniforms, the children are singing. They face the clubs, the tear gas and the guns with their voices and the vision that they share. The song that blossoms in the dry land of despair. It mocks the power of the death machine and sparks beneath the earth a fire raging to be free, and rocks the mighty mausoleum walls where laws are made a world away. Without warning, voices, above the razor wire round the missile base, a small bird is singing. The soldier, cursing the insistent flight, marks its flight, takes careful aim, and then lets fly, and sees exploding feathers tumble from the sky. But still the startled soldier hears it rise, that trilling, surging song that fills the hollow of the skies and filters through the bunker walls where battle plans are laid a world away. Without warning, voices, where the dawn and darkness meet out of the bleakness of defeat, where there's no choice but to refuse, when there is nothing left to lose. Voices, defy the death mask on the face, the barbed wire round the missile base, the solemn calculated lie, the battle, the patriotic battle cry. Voices, defy the club, the baton round, the riot squad, the killing ground, the legalized injustices, the law that sanctifies what is. Voices, can we be silent when we hear these voices call upon the unique voice that lives inside us all?
Thank you, Frankie. Frankie Armstrong. That was magic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you. Frankie makes a brilliant point there, that singing Leon's songs as one or two people is quite the ask, because of course he's so often composing for, as Frankie puts it, intertwining harmonized voices, and often and deliciously one of those was Frankie's. And I do just want to mention his name has come up a few times tonight, as it should, and that is Roy Bailey, who is often one of those voices intertwining or sending us, Leon's songs. And for my generation, and I'm sure I'm not alone, he really was Roy was part of that alchemy of, as Frankie puts it, staying, singing and hoping via Leon's magnificent writing. So thank you for saying that, Frankie, and thank you, Roy, for your voice and your part in that. I just want to tell you before we start to wind up, I am launching my album of Leon songs, which is called The Poor Shall Wear the Crown. I'm launching it on July the 20th, and I'm launching it in a hybrid format, so you can join me wherever you are. I will also be live here in my city of Sheffield. As July the 20th, if you want to look into it, it's via a great organisation called Live to Your Living Room, who have kept music live throughout the pandemic, and we're very grateful to them. So you can look out for them or look out for me on social media, and I'll tell you all about my one singular hybrid launch of my album of songs. I know that Ben and Charlie and everyone will say some proper thank yous and some more information when we finish. But I just want to say before I introduce our final guest, thank you so much for being our audience wherever you're joining us from. It's been really special. Thank you, Leon. I will do no more than to say we are going to finish now with an iconic song of Leon's from the iconic Billy Bragg.
Hi folks, sorry I can't be with you tonight to celebrate Leon's work. I'm doing a gig in Amsterdam, so such is life. But I just wanted to drop in to say a big thank you to Leon for writing this song, not only because it's become a central part of my set over the years, but also it opened my mind to the goings on during the English Revolution, which I never really learned about at school. And I think that's not just myself who's been drawn to that because of the song, but a lot of people from my generation found their way into the radicalism of England in the 17th century thanks to this song. So I think a big thank you is due, Leon, to you And I should imagine Christopher Hill also owes you some royalties as well. Sales of his book would have rocketed when people heard this song. So all the best, Leon. See you again soon, I hope. The world turned upside down. In 1649, to St. George's Hill, a ragged band they called the Diggers came to show the people's will. They defied the landlords, they defied the laws. They were to dispossess, reclaiming what was theirs. We come in peace, they said, to dig and sow. We come to work the lands in common aim to make the waste ground grow. This earth divided, we will make whole. So it should be a common treasury for all. The sin of property we do disdain. No man has any right to buy and sell the earth for private gain. By theft and murder they took the land. Now everywhere the walls rise up at their command. They made the laws to chain us well. That plenty dazzle us with heaven, or they damn us into hell. We will not worship the God they serve, the God of greed and feeds the rich while poor folks starve. We work, we eat together, we need no swords. We will not bow to the masters or pay rent to the Lord. Still we are free, though we are poor. You diggers all stand up for glory. Stand up now, stand up now, stand up now. From the men of property, the orders came. They sent the hired men and troopers to wipe out the diggers' claim, tear down their cottages, destroy their corn. They were dispersed, but still the vision lingers on. And you poor take courage, you rich take care. This earth was made a common treasury for everyone to share. All things in common, all people one. We come in peace, the orders came to cut them down.
Thank you, Billy Bragg. When we were first putting this together, I don't know if you remember this, Nancy, we said, who gets to win the contest to sing The World Turned Upside Down? And then someone says, well, geez, Billy Bragg sings it. Maybe he would do it. And they said, oh, gosh, you could never get Billy Bragg. You couldn't even get to talk to his agent. And he was so willing and eager to be a part of this evening, even though his schedule conflicted with it. So what a great thing to have him here, and what a great way to bring this evening of song together. So thanks to everyone, as Nancy said, and thanks to you, Nancy, for doing such a great job. And I'm going to call up someone who you haven't seen yet, but who has been the man behind the curtain. Ben Grosscup of the People's Music Network is more responsible than anyone for pulling this all together and making it work technically, and staying in touch and making sure we all showed up for our sound check and making us sound as good as we possibly could. So thanks, Ben. And could you tell us a little bit about People's Music Network and how this all came to be?
Thank you so much, Charlie. And Charlie, of course, is one of the co-founders of the People's Music Network, and I today serve as the executive director. I live in Western Massachusetts, and I just want to say a big thank you to you, Charlie, to Nancy Kerr, to Janet Stecker, for all that you did as a community committee, and I should say also to thank Russ Chandler and Susan Lewis. And together we formed this committee to do all the outreach that brought all these amazing artists to this event. That Nancy got us in touch with Leon, and there was all these conversations that sort of like, how do we celebrate the incredible music this man. And I first encountered his music through Ramsey Canaan and PM Press. Ramsey pointed out once to me at a conference that I should really listen to Leon Rosselson. That was in 2018, and boy, was he right. So I just want to thank Leon for your songs, for your willingness to be part of this, and to every artist who performed today. It's just been remarkable to hear all of you. I had the special pleasure, for those of you who did pre-recorded videos, to hear everything before it was actually shown tonight. So thank you all for all the work you've put into making this this event a possibility. I do want to say a little bit about the People's Music Network, and this concert is one of many events that we do regularly. We exist in order to facilitate the community of artists and activists who are using music as a tool for social change, for political education, for organizing, and people are using music in a multitude of ways. 2 weeks from now, the People's Music Network is going to be hosting our annual virtual summer convergence. That's going to be June 3rd through 5th. Musicians and activists from around the world will share songs and participate in a number of workshops on skills for using music for peace and justice. And among the many wonderful workshops that you can read about right now at our website, peoplesmusic.org, is a workshop that will be moderated by Charlie King. It's a songwriting masterclass. So it's Saturday, June 4th at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And Leon Rosselson has kindly agreed to be a part of that panel, along with a number of other outstanding songwriters involved with the People's Music Network. And you can find out more about that workshop, many other workshops, as well as our participatory round robin sing around. That's going to be at peoplesmusic.org. And one final thing, we are a membership organization. And if you decide that you would be interested in joining the People's Music Network, many of you made a financial contribution to PMN when you registered. Thank you so much for that. If you wish to deduct that contribution from your membership dues, you can get an annual membership in the People's Music Network. All you have to do is email me at pmn@peoplesmusic.org and let me know you are interested. For those who are still with us on the YouTube live stream, we're going to transition now. We're going to end the live stream part of it. We had about 200 people on the YouTube live stream throughout this entire event, in addition to the 100 or so who were here in the Zoom room. So if you want to join us, we're going to actually have a little informal chat here in the Zoom room, and all the information on how to register to get that Zoom link is at peoplesmusic.org. Thank you so much. And with that, I will end the live stream and we'll have a little conversation here.